when I'm walking down the street.
I do want to say to Doni and many of you in this room that over a very long career in this city, all of you have helped me and my colleagues tell the truth and to try to tell.
I may not look like you and you me, but
Take my hat off.
I'm South Carolina, so I just...
gotta be you.
What does this event mean to you, Miss Peggy Morris?
Oh, my heart,
Happy 20th anniversary.
my heart is about loving up on my sisters. Do you know what it feels like to have your sisters in the room? Johnny.
Gotta be me and dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. I am beautiful, I am blessed, but not just what you see in the flesh. I'm free from people, free from myself. There's a
The doctor lived next door to the janitor to the reverend and the lawyer. We were together. Now we get so high and mighty that you create stress for your society because you don't like poor black folks either. That's a health problem. Get yourself together so I can stop being taking care of geriatric people and get back to pediatrics. I thank you, Doni, for all you've done. Let's keep doing it for all the more.
letting His glory shine through. Dare to be you, dare to be me, dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. And I dare you, I dare you, I dare you to be you.
First name's Doni, last name's Glover. In it to win it for the long haul, baby. All right, it's the holiday weekend, Memorial Day, and we are here. How y'all doing out there? Beautiful day in the neighborhood. Beautiful day. It's been a busy week. Woo. Heavens to Betsy. Special thank you to all of our sponsors, including STEM City USA, Mr. Tyrone Taborn, Dr. Tyrone Taborn. STEM City USA is Dr. Taborn's entry into the metaverse. That's where you wear those Oculus goggles and you see Mark Clark all on his social media doing all kinds of activities. Next phase, they've got a lot of live entertainment. They have live entertainment tonight and always. Tony Randall's doing a wonderful job. You know, running a restaurant is not easy business, tough business, slim margin of profit, but it's the consistency that means everything. So shout out to all of the people who work in restaurants, particularly here in Baltimore, and particularly, even more particularly, the ones that support this network. Terra Cafe, Mr. Terrence Dixon. We appreciate these eateries. There are many others. You know, during CIAA, we had a chance to do a Black restaurant tour, and a lot of the local restaurants were highlighted. Again, shout out to our restaurant, Salvation Army of Central Maryland. They will be taking over the building at the end of my block, the former William Penderhughes building, over the next couple of years. I'm like that first sip or two. We are really grateful to have the Salvation Army coming to Sandtown. They bring a wealth of resources and opportunities. I've learned some things about the Salvation Army that I did not know, like they have a sort of stash house for people who are want to get into recovery. They've helped people begin that journey. That, of course, is not their forte, but they do have a place for people who are being trafficked, for instance, people who are going through addiction. Salvation Army has a lot of opportunities and resources. If you don't know, then find out. They have a website, they have social media. Murphy, Falcone, and Murphy. Most recently, we covered a story where Billy Murphy and company were looking at Television Hill. There's a huge tower on Television Hill. And unbeknownst to the everyday person. We may not realize it, but that tower has to be painted. And when it's not painted, then that means old paint is up there. And you know what happens with the lead with the paint. A lot of times it's lead and it peels, it chips. And so as of late, these pieces of paint, and remember, Ruth Ann Norton told us it only takes that much lead, enough to cover a nickel, to disrupt and disaffect a child's life. Good morning, Darius George Hall, the mayor of Sandtown. It's great to see you. Very dear friend. St. Martin's Church up there on North Avenue. But this lead paint is coming down. It's raining on the community, including a playground. And these people are not very pleased about that. Been getting a lot of scam calls lately. How about you? And also getting a lot of calls from people wanting me to sell my house. Get those darn calls every day, offering money to sell a house. We're not selling. Not happening. It won't happen here. Maybe next door, maybe down the block, but not at this place. Who else? Salvation Army. There's my man. We got Sandtown all in the house. The mayor of Sandtown. And then we got the ambassador of Sandtown, Mr. Michael Randolph, down in Tampa Bay. Of course, we talk. Yes, those ships are a nuisance, not here either. So you know about it. You know about yes. And some neighbors there in Television Hill called the Murphy firm. Those calls are. The phone calls. Yes. Selling the home. Yes. Good blessed morning to you too, Chippy. Good blessed morning to you. Yeah, we're getting calls. And so it also points to how many developers are trying to buy homes in Baltimore. But let's bring in our main Apple Scrapple.
Good morning, Donnie.
Mr. Michael Haney, turning on a dime. Who is that behind you?
Man, this is a friend. First of all, good morning, Donnie, to you and your viewers, man. Thank you so much for asking me to come on. So this is a good friend of mine. And actually, he's a good friend of yours as well, Mr. Lee Vaughn, right? You know his son, Lee Vaughn Jr., right? So Lee Vaughn, phenomenal guy, Baltimorean I went to school with, came up from Atlanta last week to attend the Preakness. Back and forth to Baltimore, big Baltimore fan. His wife and he lived in Augusta. Came up to Baltimore and died, man. Died during his visit to the Preakness. So I've been kind of celebrating him all week. Actually, I talked with his son the other day, and he reminded me on your hiatus up to New York last year as you were crossing the the George Washington Bridge, and he was saying you were talking about your main man driving you. I said, man, I knew your name from somewhere. So anyway, that's his dad in the background. Lee Vaughn Sr., man, just a consummate gentleman, great Baltimorean, even though he was transplanted to Atlanta, man, he never lost the fact of where home was. You know what I'm saying? And so my hat's off to Lee Vaughn, man, may he rest in peace. He had attended the Preakness since our days at Northwestern, almost every year, with the exception of years he was in the service, man. And unfortunately, this one was his final resting place. So, yep. So it just goes to show, man, just how short life is. He and I were supposed to have breakfast Monday after my show, Wake Up Baltimore. And his wife texted me and said, Mike, Lee passed. And I thought it was a joke. I thought it was one of those hacks on the internet that Facebook is so famous with, because you never know what to expect from them folks, man. And unfortunately, found out it wasn't. So, a bunch of us are just devastated, but we're woke. And at least he was able to make it back home to now rest in peace, because no need in going back to Atlanta now.
What else has been happening with you, Michael Haney?
Hey man, just life on life's terms, man. It's been good. Last night I had an opportunity to attend the Heart of the Schools here in Baltimore, which recognized the best of our principals, and it was a great event, man. I got to tell you, Donnie, man. I not that I'm greedy or anything, man, but man, we got some amazing, beautiful looking principals and people in our schools, man. I mean, they were gorgeous, man. Oh my, I got some great pictures. And so anyway, Wake Up Baltimore was a media sponsor with them. We had some of their honorees for 5 successive weeks. And so Dr. Santalisas, our school superintendent, Mayor Scott was there, and Paul Woman of the Woman Foundation and the Baltimore Community Foundation is the person that founded Heart of the Schools, man. And to hear, and I get in and out of public schools every month, man. I go and visit, try not to just punch holes, but participate in the process, man. But to see what's happening in our schools and what some of these kids are doing, it's absolutely amazing. Not that we don't have a bunch of challenges. We have challenges, man. But in urban school settings, whether in Baltimore or all across the country, we do. But there are some amazing things happening, man. Some really amazing things happening in our public schools.
Fox 45 don't think so.
Well, that's because they look at it different than Wake Up Baltimore and some others that, you overwhelm.
So are you telling me you're pleased with the Baltimore City public school system?
I am not saying that I'm pleased. I'm saying that when you look for bad is not hard to find. You know what I'm saying? And so it's not a matter that you can't focus on the opportunities so if I want to focus on the opportunities with anything, be it Black politicians or Black school children or Black economies, I turn into Fox. If why I want to focus on the good aspect of what it is my people have, my school system has, my economy has, I look at Wake Up Baltimore. And occasionally I may look at the Donnie Glover morning show, but we can't.
Occasionally, I've seen you scoping the show. My understanding is you scope the show a lot more than people think. You watch more of the show than most anyone. You're one of our top viewers.
Yeah, I know, because first of all, I'm dedicated to what you're doing, and second of all, you have some pretty amazing guests on, man. I mean, hey, I'm not going to shy away from an opportunity to learn. That's what it's all about. Why should my attitude of negativity, and that goes back to what you were saying about Fox, man. My attitude of negativity should keep me from being and supporting a great concept and someone doing some wonderful things, man. That's positive, man. I spread that gospel. That's what we have to do, man. We can't continue to spread the gospel of negativity. Look, let's not even talk about Memorial Day.
Well, Darren is all here. Let me just reference, first of all, Michael Randolph says hello. But this message that's comment from Darius is about Laverne Stokes. Laverne Stokes got her wings. That is my son's grandmother. She was executive director or co-executive director of Sandtown Habitat. And she did that for years and brought a lot of people into the fold.
Wow.
The schools in Tampa are failing our Black children and closing Black schools. Any thoughts on Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida?
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on there. I have Mike's down there. Mike's from Baltimore. I've got a home down in Florida. I'm down there a bit. And when you look at the fact he just announced, Tim Scott from South Carolina announced the other day. I looked at his. I'm glad
you said that. Go ahead.
Yeah, he announced it. So Ron DeSantis, man, is the devil, man. I don't know about that. Plus, he's a young one, man. He's more dangerous than Donald Trump, man. But I am not. The NAACP just came out last week with a mandate to stay away from Florida. Matter of fact, I think there's something in not spending money. They removed their NAACP, whatever. Well, we're not going to do that because of one man, but they said that, hey, the NAACP said that Florida is off limits in terms of whatever. They're spends, doing the business there, etc., because of this guy. And there's no doubt that he's dangerous. But however, I've run into a lot of blacks down there, Donnie, that actually support what he says. When you talk about gender neutral bathrooms, and you talk about abortions and things of that nature, you know, where blacks seem to have a lot of discomfort is on what he's doing in terms of removing our history and some other things. But
who the hell is he to remove history? Who the hell is he to remove history?
Well, you know, we basically put that in the hands of people anyway when we fought to have desegregated schools. You know, matter of fact, you know, I had, man, we got so much to talk about, and I don't want to drive the conversation. You know, when we felt like Brown versus Board of Topeka had so many unintended consequences, such as the disintegration of Black Wall Street, gay rights, a lot of things. Brown versus Board was probably one of the biggest catastrophes that happened to our school system. When we were segregated, we should have fought for separate but equal, separate but fair, meaning that, you know, we're okay being separate. Just pay us exactly what you pay in the schools across town so we can keep our own education system and apparatus. And then we don't have to worry about who's teaching our history. But the minute we decide to go over across town, and they said, well, okay, you come over here, then you're going to read what we interpret about you. Matter of fact, leave your teachers over there because we don't want them. So we saw a decrease significantly in the number of Black teachers in this country after Brown versus Board, as well as a decrease in HBCU as a result of Brown versus Board. The Black economy, because now the whites felt like they can come in our communities and undercut our Black businesses. You know, so there were a lot of unintended consequences, man. So to your point, Donnie, some things we have to take a look at and say, yeah, maybe we should have a bit different strategy regarding that, you know?
No. Different strategy regarding what?
The fact that we wanted to go to school across town. My mother said last week.
That wasn't it. Don't twist the story.
No, I'm not twisting anything. I'm being absent. Hey, listen.
We want the same damn books and equipment that everybody else has.
And that's what I'm saying. Just give me the money. I'll buy my own and keep my schools in my community.
What's insulting
with my teacher. I don't want to go across town to your white school.
Okay, well, the problem is not with Black people. The problem is with the racist white people who feel
they have been racist all their lives, Donnie. So what's the change other than the fact that I wanted to go over across town and go to school with them? Why would I want to do that if I knew what they were? You think they're going to teach what it is that I have to teach when I go over there? No.
Well, hey, listen, I'm not blaming Black people for racism.
I'm not saying that that's the case.
I'm blaming racists for racism.
Donnie, the racists brought us over here to America, you know, from Africa. So,
time out. That's not the entire story. That's not the entire story. There were Black people already here in the Americas when the European arrived. Let's get that.
In 1600, we had Black people in America.
Black people here for thousands of years.
That's right. But the point of it is, you said they want to change our history.
Yeah, well, they do. They want to whitewash history, and you can't whitewash history. You can't whitewash history.
You can't whitewash it when I'm teaching it to my people, but when you give it to them to teach what it is that they feel they want to teach to their people,
you cannot wipe away the lynchings, for instance. They don't want to teach about the lynchings, that there were thousands of lynchings, and there are pictures. All you have to do is Google lynchings USA, and you will see mobs of white people hanging around as a Black man, as a Black woman is being lynched, and they're pointing up at him. Look at this. Don't erase that. Let your children see what.
When you say your children, are you speaking?
Let them see it.
When you say your children, are you speaking of their children or our children?
Let everybody's children see the history of this country.
Okay, Donnie.
Let them
Okay,
see
Donnie.
that these so-called noble presidents, like Thomas Jefferson, were slave owners, or they weren't slave owners. They bought and they trafficked people, because even if you're enslaved, don't make you a slave. You're enslaved. Our history did not start nor end with slavery.
Donnie, I don't disagree with you. I think we're saying the same thing. What I'm saying is, had we kept our own segregated systems of education, hear me out. Hear me out. I heard you out. If we had allowed our own systems of segregation before desegregation to exist, where we taught our own, we lived in our own community, our teachers lived in the community, we went to schools that were Black, not that we shouldn't have had the option if we chose to. They dismantled that system, dismantled our ability to teach our own, and then we went across town to theirs. They're like, oh, no, we're not, just what Ron DeSantis says. Hey, we're not saying it's not true. We're just saying that we're not going to be held hostage to what it is the truth may be, and teach our kids, so they have to have.
Okay, damn the past. What about today? How are you treating people today, Ron DeSantis?
I don't disagree that that is a philosophy that, as you see, many white people like. So why do I want to engage and integrate in their system? Just give me my due. If you have a $10,000 per student,
getting government money. You're getting government money. You're going to do the right thing, and we got a lot to say about it.
Give me the same, and let me establish my school system and my school apparatus in my community, and I don't have to deal with yours. And I can teach my own what it is, the truth, is. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying that we contributed when we fought for desegregation without understanding the total ramifications of it, and not having a strategy.
Hindsight, Michael, this is hindsight, the benefit of 50 plus years of looking back at what happened back then. Decisions had to be made. America was grappling with its own history, with its self-identification. And so this is how things unfolded.
You almost have the same philosophy. You almost sound like Ron DeSantis.
No,
man.
I don't. No. Are you trying to make good radio?
No, I'm not trying to make anything. You sound like an intellectual bureaucrat, justifying without sound reason why certain things happen and exist. Do you hear yourself?
Don't be idiotic, Michael.
Oh, now we're name calling. That's not good.
No, it was characteristic. It was characteristic. It's characteristic. You're being idiotic. The name of my book is Unapologetically Black.
I may be controversial, but
when you call me
idiotic, when you call me an idiot, it hits me a different way.
Do you know the name of my first book?
You sound like Donald Trump.
Do you know the name of my first book?
You mean Black Wall Street, or hey, because you say that that I'm unapologetically Black.
So you do know the name of my first book?
Sure, I do. Maybe I just say that
you know that I'm about as pro-Black as a person can get.
Hey man, based on what you just said, maybe I need to go back and read it. Maybe you just are Black in color only, because I don't understand.
If that were the case, you would not be a supporter of this network.
I am supporter of you, in spite of the fact that maybe your perspective may be tainted by not listening to other perspectives.
Then you're saying that you're over here supporting Ron DeSantis.
I didn't say I support him.
If you're likening me on the Ron DeSantis. Come on, Mike, let's get to some real news. I want to get to this situation with what's his name? Tim Scott. One of the things that Tim Scott says is America is not a racist country.
I heard him.
Your thoughts?
I mean, that's idiotic.
Oh, yeah, it is. America.
So that isn't even worth discussing.
And he wants to run for president. Is this what happens when you become a Republican? You have to say things like this?
No, it just means that that's what happens when you're
Can you
ingrained.
see C4 saying this? No.
That's you said that. Are you answering for me?
I can't see C4 saying this.
Hey,
And I say that
listen.
because I've been, peeping WBAL, and actually we miss Clarence Mitchell IV in the community. I don't really get to see him much. Kiefer's got some old big time fancy job. We haven't seen him in the community, in not in the Black community in some time. A lot of people no longer come to the Black community.
Maybe that's it.
They no longer come to Pennsylvania Avenue. Matter of fact, they don't even come here for votes. Who comes here for votes are out of towners, like people from Prince George's County, Montgomery County, when they're trying to make an impact. If they want to meet me, I have them meet me at the Avenue Market. That's my meeting ground. That's where you want to meet. You want to meet? We're going to meet at the Avenue Market.
Well, to your question,
I want to see the look on their faces when they see a dope line, when they see white addicts, Black addicts, drug dealers. I had to stop a cat one time. Cat did a 360 with the camera. I said, don't do that.
Sounds like you live in a desegregated community.
Desegregated.
Yeah, you said white addicts and Black addicts. Sounds like it's desegregation going on there.
This has happened since Freddie Gray. Since Freddie Gray, white addicts don't get G-checked anymore.
Yeah, no. It's just their first. I've told you continually what that means. It's a sign of gentrification to come.
So are bike lanes.
Yeah, no, addicts are first. They infiltrate your community by telling their kids to go into Sandtown near Doni.
Let me tell you, the behavior that I've noticed in the white addicts is just utterly, we already maxed out with our own addicts, but it has taught me some patience.
What does that mean, that we're maxed out with our own addicts? What does that mean?
We're tired. We're tired of the behavior. We're tired of people nodding. We're tired of people acting. Man, I saw recently, last summer.
However, we passed the marijuana legislation. We weren't too tired to take the money and be bought and sold in regards to the marijuana legislation across this country and not get any of the business opportunities. So we maxed out. Yeah, okay. I'm listening to you.
Oh boy.
I hear you. Hey, listen, man. It's all about perspectives. Mine is just different to yours. It doesn't mean it's idiotic. It just means that it's different. But we did pass that marijuana legislation, and they did come to the Black community to pass that marijuana legislation, right? And that is to me, it's a gateway drug anyway. So we tired. We maxed out. We weren't maxed out enough to smoke a joint. Please. Tim Scott is on drugs and has a mental issue, almost like that candidate for governor, that Black candidate for governor, Democratic governor that just barely lost to Ron DeSantis. Remember him, the Black guy? What's his name? That they found up in the motel in Jacksonville. Mike Randolph probably knows. He was spaced out on psychedelic drugs and caught naked with hookers. And he barely lost to Ron DeSantis in the first election. Had he won, we wouldn't even be dealing with Ron DeSantis. But yeah, Tim Scott, I don't know if he's on drugs, but he definitely has a different perspective. And that's because he's bought and sold.
His name was Gilliam.
Yeah, Gilliam, yeah. So he now that was a guy, he was a Democrat. He was a Democrat. So it crosses party lines insanity.
Remember who put the drugs in the Black community, says Michael Randolph.
Absolutely. We don't have to. We know who puts it in there because we can't afford to go into South American countries and bring cocaine back and do things like that. But we do what they're allowed. You talk about Bumpy and you talk about some of the other big timers, man. They hook up with them for the purposes of an economy and put it in our community because it's a opportunity to make money. Tim Scott, you mentioned C4, you mentioned the other Mitchell, man, if the money and the price is high enough, and I told you this before, Donnie, everybody has a price. Even you have a price.
It's up there in the millions.
Your price?
Won't be 35 grand, won't be 15 grand.
If somebody felt as though what you had to offer was worth it, they pay you. And if your voice was that big with this channel, they probably would take you out. That's what they do. They did it with Tim Scott. Tim Scott does. When you look at who was in the background with Tim Scott, there wasn't a whole heck of a lot of people that looked like you or could afford, you know, to put $100 million in the campaign as they do with him. And he has a decent chance.
So here's the comment from Doc Cheatham in a group text to 20 people. I want to thank you, Doc Cheatham, for including me in your group text. Now I can get responses all day. Let me just tell you, stop sending group texts. They're just not attractive.
Well, that's Doc's thing, man. He does the same thing with emails. God bless Doc.
He wrote, what should be done when an elected official is caught twice not telling the truth regarding the same subject matter? This came at 10:37 last night. What should be done when an elected official is caught twice not telling the truth regarding the same subject?
I think so.
You know what came to mind? I wanted to write, what should be done when an elected official is caught twice stealing?
How about once?
Well, some have done it and then come back and do it again.
But Donnie, that's just part of the persona of those positions, and we understand and know that dynamic. It's only different when you have black ones that get caught and white ones that understand the system.
Hey, it's more egregious when when a black person who is an elected official gets caught up.
It's more egregious. What do you mean by that? Are you saying it's
the last person you expect to betray public trust is the person besides you, the person who looks like you? Because we have
that is illogical.
You know what? I'm just going to step off and let you because I'm not doing this.
Illogical and idiotic. That is idiotic. I can't even believe. No, don't go anywhere. Don't run. Don't encapsulate and run.
Is it true that black people don't trust black people with no hair on their face?
Come on, man. Oh, well, I don't have hair on my face.
Do we trust you?
Yeah, well, if I had hair on my face, you should question whether you trust me. That's stupidity. I'm saying something like that. My daddy in the background doesn't have hair on his face, and I just want to commemorate my father, who would have been 86.
You got a little mustache there. That's your daddy?
That's my daddy, and I wanted to lead into a story with that, Donnie, if you allow me for a second, that hopefully will
after you done chop me up, then you want some grace and mercy?
You call me idiotic? I didn't call you idiotic.
I didn't call you an idiot. Idiotic is a character.
You called me idiotic.
I didn't call you an idiot. You're not an idiot. But you say what your comment was idiotic.
Hey, listen, I'm a simplistic, educated.
You try to paint me as like I'm a Ron DeSantis
supporter. Somebody says that you're idiotic. In my neighborhood, Evanston Village in Baltimore, they just called you an idiot, and those are fighting words.
Well, I didn't call you an idiot. I don't think you're an idiot.
If they use the word idiotic at Poly and at City because they're bigger words, in my neighborhood, idiotic means idiot. Ask your viewers, man, if idiotic means idiot.
Dude, you tried to liken me under Ron DeSantis. You lucky I didn't chop your head off.
Well, you guys may not be from the same neighborhoods, but you're theoretically. I know several politicians that took kickbacks.
I know several politicians that took kickbacks, were expelled and found not guilty only if they knew.
That's real, man. I hear you, Darius. Hey, so the story quickly about my daddy before we transition into the reality of this.
Your dad?
Yeah, it's my daddy.
The two of you are one of a kind.
He
what the hell does that mean, Michael Randolph? You put me in the same boat with this guy?
Hey, Mike, you just honored him.
Mike, oh my God.
Hey, Michael watches every show of everybody. So if this is what Michael says, then I respect what Michael Randolph says. Hey, so we just gonna let it go.
You sound like a politician. Are you a politician?
But it's the truth, man.
Are you a politician?
Am I a politician?
Yes, you are a politician.
Hey, Donnie, let me tell you about my dad.
And I'm not mad at you.
Let me tell you about
we need blacks in politics.
Yeah, man. I was asked if I was, I've been asked every mayoral election if I would, but I'm not.
If you would what?
if I would consider, I remember 12 years ago, some white guy said, "Hey, we'll find $750,000 if you would, as a business person, decide to run for mayor." I said, "Well, I'm not going to be up that stuff. That's not a winning proposition." I said, for me, if I'm a business person, then I weigh, decisions that I make, and I said, who gets the benefit and value out of that? Wouldn't be me, and that's what business is all about. So, politics is a losing proposition unless you're going in there for egotistical gain, particularly in a mayoral situation. You can talk about the woman in Chicago and the mayor of Baltimore, who I think has good intentions. I just think that it's an overwhelming situation. You got people like Sheila and, potentially Bob Wallace that are considering it.
Well, Bob Wallace is a candidate as a Democrat.
Yeah, so you have
time he won't miss out on all of the debates and forums.
Yeah. So my point is that they consider it. Bob is probably a better opportunity because he's self-made. He can stand for something because he doesn't need to gain. He's at a stage in his life where, he can do that. I think Bob is a consummate candidate, given that he doesn't need anything except to do right. And he doesn't owe anybody anything. And so I'm very intrigued.
What makes him attractive? Okay, he's got his own money.
The fact that he's his own man. I think that's what we need to look for, not these candidates who want to be
will that alone be enough? I mean, Sheila has a lot of support.
Besides the fact that he has a grasp on economic issues and necessities of our community.
Can I say something? Can I say something without interruption?
Shoot, Donnie, you taught me interruption. Didn't you just see what Michael said? Go ahead, Donnie. This is exhausting, isn't it? Isn't this exhausting? But that's why you called me.
So who do you like for mayor, Michael?
Who do I like? I'm intrigued by Bob Wallace. Can
he connect with the everyday Black person in Baltimore?
He grew up in Cherry Hill, man.
That was 30 years. That's 40, 50 years.
You never lose where you come from. Or
I'll be damned. C. Anthony Muse originally was from Baltimore. He moved to Prince George's County. And when his campaign went down, Baltimore acted as if they did not know him.
Hey, listen, man. Bob Wallace connected. He got 40,000 votes when he ran as an independent, or however he ran the last time. So 40,000 people he connected with. So I think he connects very well. And I think you'll have a bunch of us that absolutely discern him. I'm excited to see a business person from Cherry Hill that made it come out as a candidate.
So do you think he can win?
Absolutely, I think he can win. As long as we care enough to be strategic in terms of who gets in the race. Brandon gets in if more than 3 or 4 candidates. If there's a Jack,
it's going to be more than 3 or 4 candidates.
No. You gotta let me finish. If there's a Jack, Sheila, Bob, Brandon, then Brandon gets in because Sheila and Jack and share the same, voter. Whatever.
I'm glad you said that. So what would stop multiple Black candidates from getting in the race?
Egos.
No, a boss.
Yes.
We haven't had a boss since, frankly, Pete Rollins. Someone can say you're running.
Pete Rollins, and just is just my opinion. He was a
boss. Clarence Blount was a boss. Willie Adams was a boss. You're running, you're not running.
Willie Adams was a boss. Because he had
Pete Rollins was a boss.
Okay.
I mean, do you remember 1999? You had Carl Stokes, you had Lawrence Bell, and Pete Rollins put his support on Martin O'Malley. And the understood point was that when O'Malley had the opportunity, he would make Stephanie Rollins Blake the mayor. Something she seemed like she really was not passionate or interested in.
Well, that's an unfortunate example because, like I was getting ready to say, Pete Rollins doesn't, he isn't somebody that, you know, is high up on my radar screen. I mean, you know, he's okay.
As a matter of fact, I would go so far as to say,
matter of fact, didn't they name the zoo after him or something?
Yes, no. Adrian is married to Michael Haney's brother. And happy belated birthday to Keith Haney, my Morehouse brother. That's how I ended up meeting Michael. But I knew Adrian separately. She was a longtime employee for the city of Baltimore, very passionate about helping people in the city of Baltimore. So this is what we got to do to silence you, Michael Haney. Start talking about your family.
No, man. I mean, you know, it was a good question.
You kind of got quiet,
because you know, because there's no need me answering a question about my family. Might as well let you answer. Might as well let you answer a question about my family. But we were talking about Pete Rollins and him being a boss. I don't know whose boss he was. I know he got something at the zoo named after him, but he didn't exactly excite me. Pete Rollins, you know, I mean, you know, what they got, like a cage or something named after him? Pete Rollins, you know, we got to be careful.
I'm just telling you what happened. He was a boss. He said, "You're running, you're not running. We're putting out support here," and we ended up.
We need somebody like him again.
Well, time out. The truth is, with all due respect, Kurt Schmoke and Dan Henson said it on my show years ago out of WEAA that they did not have a succession plan. After 12 years of a black mayor, we should have had a candidate lined up to take the reins from Kurt Schmoke, and we did not. We, as a community, did not have a succession plan. We, as a community, couldn't even fully decide if we wanted Kurt Schmoke or Clarence Duburns. My dad and other Baltimore loyalists wanted Duburns to be the first elected mayor. But Kurt Schmoke came in, he had the Ivy League education, he had the Rhodes Scholarship behind him, he had experience as the state's attorney, and he was able to attract supporters that did not. I hope Sheila runs and brings back the federal empowerment model from the 90s. That happened under Kurt Schmoke. Kurt Schmoke was the last mayor to invest in Sandtown. So let me tell you this. If you're running for mayor and you do not support Sandtown and historic East Baltimore, you might as well go home, because we will be having forums and we will be asking you what you will do for our community. I promise you. So get your story together. Too many times we see people come through our neighborhoods, our communities. Oh, vote for me. Oh, vote. No, what do you plan to do here in this community? Because we haven't seen you. We have not seen anybody. Matter of fact, we're more likely to see a white Republican in the black community than we will a black Democrat, because black Democrats take the black community for granted quite often. I don't hear anything.
Oh, I'm just doing my Jim McMahon thing, because, you know, I'm just on the side, you on the stage, I'm at the curtains, man. So it's all good. You know, like I said, I think Bob Wallace is intriguing. You know, I don't want to see any more retreads. I love Sheila to death. I don't know. It'd be great when we have a conversation. Sheila and I, you know, I consider very close. Just like Bob, I've known Bob since I was 14 years old, and I've known Sheila Sheila's, you know, I love Sheila, you know, I love.
Why did the city reject her twice? I mean, the first election in 2016, there were 1,800 voting irregularities in Baltimore City during that election. 1,800.
So are you saying that the city didn't reject her? That to what Donald Trump said there was election fraud? Was there election fraud? Is that what you're saying?
I very much think there was election fraud, both in 2016 and 2020. I'm
not saying. So then say that. Don't say that the city rejected her. That's not what you're saying. Be clear. You're agreeing.
There was election fraud, I believe.
You're agreeing with Donald Trump that there's election fraud.
2016 and 2020.
Election fraud.
Yes.
Do you think that Donald Trump had credibility in calling election fraud?
No.
Okay. Just ask.
He lost.
Okay.
You won, you lost. They go sit down. Yeah, they stole it from Sheila. 2016, clearly they stole it from Sheila. 2020 was suspect 2. That was something she did not fight. She fought it in 2016. I was right there.
So who was the mayor that won that year that they stole?
2016.
Was that Catherine Pugh?
Catherine Pugh. They had an election
Right.
day riot.
So answer me a question. So you're saying we didn't have the right black? What are you saying?
Say it again.
We didn't have the right black win? What are you saying?
Are you asking me my thoughts about Catherine Pugh?
I'm asking your thoughts about a process in which, if you look at it from
they stole it from Sheila.
A politician in color only, Sheila lost, Catherine won. We had a black female lost. Did you say we didn't get the right black female? What are you saying?
I was not a Pugh supporter.
It wasn't as though
I was
Martin
not
O'Malley
a Pugh
won
supporter
because we had too many strategically running, and Martin O'Malley slipped in there when Lawrence Bell and Carl Stokes and all the other ones were running, Mary Pat Clark, and then Martin O'Malley got in there because we weren't cohesive. Here we had Sheila lose. We had another black politician won, and was it the wrong politician?
Why don't you be more specific? You're asking
I'm
me
just
a vague
asking
question.
you. I'm asking you.
You're asking me a roundabout question. You're trying to ask me, what do I think of Catherine Pugh?
No, I'm not. I'm just asking you, do we have the wrong one win?
Well, obviously.
To you?
No, to the guy daggone healthy Holly, whatever the damn name of
the
the
one
book
thing
was.
that they both have in common is that they both left office before their term. Right? I mean, let's be real.
They both left before their term.
Maybe we're not real enough. Maybe the wrong candidate was none of the above.
Agreed.
You know?
That's very possible.
Yeah,
and so
maybe it's in our discernment. Maybe it's in our discernment. And maybe it's the bureaucratic process of who's that down there, Armstrong, what's his name, Williams?
Armstead Jones.
Same thing, Armstead Williams, Armstead Jones, same thing theoretically. That's who we need to get rid of.
He should have been gone in 2016 when he had 1,800 voting irregularities.
It never been hired. Then you can talk about city planning. See, it's these bureaucratic positions that are non-political that determine the political environment. City planning, we don't have any influence down there, and that is sad. Those are the ones we should be fighting.
It's pathetic.
We
Especially when you have a Morgan State University
at a community. So they got us focused here, and they're working the system here, influencing Inner Harbor, Baltimore Peninsula, and everything else, right? Going on the
formerly known as Fort Covington.
And they say, well, let them have the mayorship, and y'all just make sure city planning stays as it is, or housing, or the election board will get us to, we sometimes focus differently than we should.
I agree.
Two of the brightest minds. Was he talking about Sheila and Catherine, or Bob and Sheila? Is he talking about me and you? Mike, I love you down there, man. You talking about me and Doni, or you talking about Catherine and Sheila? Hey, Doni.
I didn't know you do comedy.
Hey, listen, man, it's all about comedy and giving people an opportunity to chuckle, man, through the reality so that our pain.
It's 9:52. I didn't know this was going so fast. Tell them about your show, Michael Haney.
Hey, no, we got 8 minutes. We're going to talk about Tina Turner, man. You ain't going to tell me what to do. We're going to talk about Tina Turner, man, for a minute, Doni, please. And then we got to tell people about Doni. We got to tell people about the reality of Memorial Day. Do you know that Memorial Day started in South Carolina with the black people? Do you know
I've shared that picture many times. And let me just say, for those people who have followed me on Facebook back in 2020, Facebook took my page with about 211,000 followers. We were touching 4 to 6 million people a month. And so it may seem like you got blocked, but you didn't. Some people did get blocked. I got blocked. You got blocked. But no, they took my page. And so we had to start all over. And on that note, yes.
Why'd they take the page, Donnie? You too black?
It was inferred that I was going against community standards.
What community?
I'm very clear it wasn't the black community.
So what did you do about that, Donnie?
I called a bunch of lawyers. I called Facebook. At the end of the day, I just started over. But the lesson.
Did you skin your knees, Donnie, or did you try to do something different? Thank you, Mike Randolph. I love you, Mike. Mike, when I'm down there, man, we got to hook up. I'm going to buy you lunch, man. Hey, Donnie, so did you skin your knees and go back to him, man? Did you do what Donald Trump did, man? Start the Truth platform or whatever. Hey, how about that insurrectionist getting 18 years, man? Oh, my God. That should scare all
Really?
that.
Really?
He got 18 years yesterday in federal court, man. 18 years, man. I am so happy that something wasn't playing, man, and got 18 years. Can you imagine throwing a brick through a window?
Stuart Rhodes, who said after the Capitol attack that the rioters should have brought rifles, received the longest sentence of any January 6th defendant to date. Good.
Hey, how about that brother down in Anne Arundel County that brought the AR-12, right? He brought it out to the bus stop with the kids to prove the point. Look what they do to us. So they take a Tim Scott and use him. Then they take this brother down in Anne Arundel County
who was wearing a MAGA hat. Wearing a MAGA hat.
Why are we suckers, man? What's up with us, man? What are we thinking about? He's walking around with a yellow school bus in his backdrop with a...
I thought that was totally unnecessary. I thought that was traumatic to the young people.
What's going on, man? What's going on with our people, man?
I thought that was very traumatic to the young people and unnecessary. If anywhere, why are you going to take it to a bus stop where the kids go? I mean...
Because he was trying to prove a point for them, man. Now, he's on drugs, and he has a mental illness. Somebody needs to go down and embrace him.
I'm surprised they didn't pop him.
Matter of fact, why would they pop him? Because hey, listen, they used him, man, to prove a point. They protected him. Did you really see what's happening out there?
Okay, what's the point?
The point is that he didn't get locked up, right? But they used the black man to get the point. They used the black man.
He allowed himself to be used.
Yeah,
he put that damn hat on.
Trust me.
He put that damn hat on all by himself.
What's the girl that ran last year against Quasi, the black girl that got 12 million? So Kim got $12 million from all across the country. She's on a national tour. She's on National Hero. She's in Las Vegas. She got 12. It's because of the money, man. You think that this guy's image isn't all over the conservative media and this guy isn't going to be taken care of? Come on, man. It's all about the money, Donnie. Come on, man. Come on. We sellouts. I told you, you got a price on your head too and in your heart. What's your price in your heart?
Millions.
Hey, listen, I'm not going to go there because the show's almost over. I'm not going to go there.
I figure with millions, I can build a whole new platform.
Donnie, I hear in your head, you say millions. In your heart, it may just be a couple thousand, my brother. And it's okay. It's okay because you and I are always going to be like brother friends, man. I'm going to leave you alone because you don't want me to go at it.
Really?
Hey, listen. Hey, listen, Donnie. At the end of the day, we all stick our head in our closet and we say, okay, well, listen, Donnie, it's all good, man. Hey, I appreciate you calling me today. This was good, man. You have gotten me. I feel good, man. I feel great.
All right.
I felt like I was needed, man, or wanted. Hey, Chippy Bass. Thank you, Chippy. Donnie, we got 2 more minutes left, so don't go nowhere. Don't try to end this, man. Hey, Donnie, what'd you think about Tina Turner, man? All we hear the white media talking about is how her husband beat the stuff out of her, right? That's what they lead for. She survived that. She survived, And that's an unfortunate part of that story with Tina Turner. I mean, she was absolutely fantastic, man.
Legs. She had the
Oh
legs.
my God, man. Oh my God, man. I would carry her stockings any day. But you know, her whole story isn't about. I know, John, you're not shaking your head at me. Her story, her old story isn't about
The
I
things you
beat
say
the
on
heck
air.
out of her.
You know, I really have to take you to the Mary Carter Smith School of Black Media so that I can get you regrounded.
No.
That's exactly
That
what
is not what
the
the
issue is.
people want. But since you asked me about my
Did your
show,
father, let me ask you this. Did your father whip your ass?
man, my father punched me in the eye one time when I got suspended at Rockland High School, man. They were tired of me, man, because I used to just be a Dennis the Menace. And my mother said she wasn't coming up there. My father was a recruiter in Montdarmins, and she said, you go see him because I'm done. He came up there, man. He looked straight. Mr. Knox was in the chair, looked straight, he didn't even look at me, man. And this is on a Friday. I'll never forget it. Got in the car, got home, and he knocked me. I came down the steps, man. He knocked me so hard I came down, and he made me go to the Bullet game that night with a black eye, man. And you think I was gonna say I was gonna call the police like they do today? But I tell you what, I ain't get suspended no more.
How much
And
time did you do in prison, Mike Wayne?
What?
How much time did you do in prison?
In prison? Well, prison at that time was the porch, man, where I couldn't go outside.
You did 0 time in prison. So your father saved your life.
Hey, well, that's true. That's true. Absolutely. But that's
your
what
father's job is to put the fear of God in a child and to do to encourage discipline and help make a child self-sufficient. Because if a father is not in the picture, then you leave your child to the police officer and the correctional officer.
Well, that's real, man, because the God to me,
my uncle said,
fear was my daddy. Fear was my daddy, and I did not ever want. Oh my God, I'll never forget that. Hey, listen, I see what Chippy says. A Memorial Day, as Donnie said, Black people started Memorial Day, which was Declaration Day on May 1st originally, and then they kind of stole it. So as we celebrate our soldiers and people like my dad, they gave their life, and Lee Vaughn, who also was in the military, let's remember that the history that we have, as Donnie said, in this country is deeper than they can ever imagine, but we got to look for it. So watch 60 Minutes in Black America at 6 p.m. this Sunday as we get real about our people and our history. Donnie, thank you so much for having me on, man. This was absolutely fantastic, Donnie. I enjoyed it immensely, man. I enjoyed it. Are we done?
Good morning, world.
Hey, have a great